Changing chords can be a challenge, and I see many folks struggle changing that C and G chord. In this video, I'm going to share 2 tips to help you start changing those chords faster. Welcome back to Relax Learn Guitar. I am Kevin and this is Maggie May, getting her YouTube treats out of the way. Just one today? Want another one? Come on. My wife Vicky's behind the camera.
Hello.
Let's get started on changing some chords. These C and G chords are some of the most common chords you can know, and they're in tons and tons of songs. So it's really a good idea to get good at changing back and forth. We're going to talk about just kind of the traditional fingering for these 2 chords right now. The C chord will look like this. And for the G chord, you'll most often see it like this. And playing it this way is fine, and that's how you'll see me do it most of the time. But there is quite a bit of movement when we're moving from this shape. You gotta lift your hand all the way off the fretboard, reposition it for that C shape. And doing that quickly can take a little bit of work. My first tip for you is we're gonna change the way we're gonna fret this G chord. So instead of fretting it like this, kind of more traditional, we're going to fret it with our middle ring and pinky finger. And you're going to have this kind of index finger hanging out here, and you'll see why in a sec. So try playing your G chord this way. If you're struggling with moving from C's to G's, try this first. Use this chord shape for the G. And what that does is when you need to go to the C shape, a lot less movement. We're going to move from doing it this way to shifting all the way here. And if you do it this way with the G, and making that C shape, excuse me, your index finger is already kind of in position to kind of move to that 2nd string 1st fret. And that can make a world of difference, like little things like this.
Looks easier.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I tell folks all the time, if it sounds good, it is good. So if you want to get comfortable with getting some different ideas of shapes under your fingers for chords, it's going to go a long way. And then once you've done it a couple of times, people will tell you, that looks easy. So you have this, that's the first tip, kind of fret your G chord this way, and then just practice playing a G chord. I recommend picking the notes individually first, so you can find out kind of where you might have some buzzing or some muting going on. Then shift to that C chord. And like at the beginning of this video, I'm just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you need to go slower, then by all means do that. That's the first tip there. Another thing you can do to get better at changing chords faster is play the first chord, then take your hand all the way off the fretboard, tap your guitar, and then go back to your 2nd chord shape. In this case, the C. So you have strum, lift off, tap, strum. That just gets you used to some muscle memory and your hand kind of remembering the shapes that they need to make for each chord. For another lesson on some tips on making chord changes faster, where I go in a little more detail, check out this lesson next. The second tip is fretting the G chord with 4 fingers. So here's the traditional that you'll see the most often. If we make this a 4-finger G chord, we're going to use our pinky here on the 1st string 3rd fret and our ring finger here on the 2nd string 3rd fret. And the top stays the same. So you have a G shape that looks like this. Then moving to a C shape, it's a little different than a C chord. It's called a C add 9. All we're doing here is this index and pinky finger are going to stay put. They're going to be anchored in here on that 1st and 2nd string on the 3rd fret. Then all you have to worry about moving to make the chord change, excuse me, got a little frog in the throat today. So all you have to do to make this chord change is lift up your middle and index fingers and move them down a string, so that your middle's playing the 5th string on the 3rd fret and your index is playing the 4th string on the 2nd fret. That's a C add 9 chord. So you can do
still sounds great though.
Yeah,
Like,
the G's and C's together are just, there's so much you can do with just 2 chords. And this all will translate. If you're having trouble with other chords that you're playing, just apply these same ideas. Look at ways you're fretting those, and then practice, taking your hand off, putting your hand back on. The tapping just gives gives your hand something to do when you take that off of the fretboard. But those are 2 things that should really help you with these chord changes. So put those 2 tips in your back pocket and work on those G and C chord changes. Remember that Vicki and Maggie and I very much appreciate your reviews and your support here on YouTube. It's been amazing. And for another lesson, I think it's a great way to learn how to change chords by learning songs. So check out this lesson where I show you 7 songs using just 4 chords. And you guessed it, G and C are 2 of those 4 chords. So remember that you're never too old to learn, and I will see you guys next time.
take care.